Good morning. We are gathered here on our first day of our module on fear in Nowhere Village. And fear is a subject that has been a really huge theme in my spiritual journey, and certainly in the spiritual journeys of everyone that I personally work with and speak to. So it's an interesting, we're on this coordinates journey. Basically, we're on this journey where we're going through these different, really big questions of life and trying to get some clarity. The idea being, when we get clarity, it gives us power, and it gives us direction, and it helps us move forward on our path. And fear is a really interesting coordinate. It is the only one of the coordinates that naturally has a sort of negative connotation. I mean, in a way, what we're looking at when we're looking at fear is what is it that comes up in our world that we don't really want. That's a lot of the theme, is what happens when we are on our spiritual path, or we're just on any kind of journey with a goal and a mission and a direction, and obstacles arise. Things show up that we're like, I didn't order that. Right? And so we're going to be looking at all of those kinds of experiences and contemplating why these experiences show up on our path. How can we work with them? And how can, like all of the other coordinates, how can an awareness, deep awareness of our fears, help bring us back into alignment with our truth and our mission and what we're really here to do? I will give teachings on fear for the next couple of Wednesdays. And at the core of all, we're going to get into some cool stuff. I'm going to bring in some fun ancient texts from the Vedas and Buddhist texts that I love. We'll get little bits of that. You already can see little pieces of that in what I'm about to share with you. But the heart of the teaching is this, the whole reason why fears is in this list with 8 other qualities or things that really easily can say, oh, those are positive and good. The heart of the teaching of fear is that everything is here as an ally on our journey. As some people say, the obstacles are the path. And so it is going to be a journey of coming into acceptance of the fact that fear is part of the human experience. And for me, this acceptance brings about actually a really deep sense of trust, belonging, connection, and freedom, right? Because as long as our fear is kind of on our back, we can't really rest, right? And so freedom and peace, and I hope that's some of what you guys are able to find here this week or the next couple of weeks. I'm going to share really briefly with you. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you the prompts that we're going to work with. And I'm going to share, for those who are live, sorry, give me one sec. For those who are live, you guys have links that are coming at you. Put those in first before I share my screen. Okay, so the first one, the fears inquiry page, that's just for subscribers. You guys basically you just have the material organized in a different way on the site. And everybody else, or just people who like Google Docs, I know some people who are subscribers prefer the Google Doc for whatever reason. It's printable, it's easy enough. So both of those links are there for you guys. And if you're watching the video, you'll have access to that as well. So here we go, sharing my screen. And showing you guys this really quick. Let's actually just start at the top. So um, if you're in the interface in the coordinates course, cool. You'll get basically all of this, but just broken down into kind of little chapters. And right now you just have a couple of those there. So otherwise, here's all the information. We'll be running for the next couple of weeks. Here's a little bit on fear. I always include qualities and themes for fear, which some of you guys might use today in your inquiry practice. So I'm going to offer these really deep, big themes, right? We'll be talking a lot about our emotional life, how our emotions tell us about fear. And you can kind of look through the rest of this list: challenges, ill health, the unknown, change, separateness, war, enemies, attachment, aversion, trauma, narratives, identities. Okay. Teachings for fear. This just has like these little chunks of text that we're going to dive into a little deeper over the next couple of weeks. These are cool. Stillness for fear is all about all the meditations that we're going to do. Basically, I'll just be leading meditations about trust and fear and all of these themes. We'll be doing some movement practices for fear, and I've got some a beautiful ancient chant, Gate Gate Parasan Gate Bodhi Swaha. We're going to chant that together. And then here we go. This is the heart of what we're doing here today, inquiry for fear. So here's the inquiry practice. So if you're going to hang out, I'm going to set a timer and we'll do this for 24 minutes. We're going to dive into some of these. I'm trying to get a little more organized around how I present the inquiry and how it fits into a creative process. So I'm working out how to present that to you, but I'll just, in a nutshell, I'll say that the way that I'm asking you guys to work with the prompts is that in round one, what we're really trying to do is to gain new awareness about whatever our theme is. And so before we try to make any big decisions or before we get ahead of ourselves, this is really about just kind of stirring things up to the surface, almost excavating about our experiences with fear. I think so often we want to reach for these easy answers, or we want to reach for the right answers, the ones that we'll get validation for, or people will be like, wow, you're so wise. What I would like for you to start with every time you do any inquiry journey is really what's already here. Okay, and so I give you three, I'm calling them portals right now, but I'm giving you really three different ways of initially accessing some new awareness from pre-existing self material. Okay, so here's the three portals: feelings, stories, and concepts. Sort of embodiment, kind of ideas of self. These are stories, and then sort of more abstract ideas. And different people tend to respond to different types of work. I'm somebody who actually, I use all three. I work with all three of these modes. And so I offer them to you to see what works. And so those are the three portals. And I'll be doing those same three portals for the coming coordinates as well. And so you'll get a chance to get used to them. Okay, I do want to just say here, I'll do reach out to somebody. I could be one of those people. Get help if this stuff starts to bring up triggers, traumas. That's always true with inquiry work, right? We can be digging into something that feels really happy at first, and we can go somewhere that needs to be seen, but sometimes we need support. So I just want to say that, especially with fear. Okay, so I want us to actually dive into the practice. So I'm just going to show you that portal A, feelings of fear. This is all of these prompts are saying, look at your own embodied experience, and then as directly as possible, relate these. Journaling or draw a picture of the feeling of fear, this kind of thing. And then I've got these prompts that are just kind of like, ooh, you can dive in deeper, or you can, one of these prompts might kind of stir up feelings inside that help you do that practice, okay? For stories of fear, portal B, you can work with different narratives of experiences of fear that you've already had. Or if you want to get creative, you could tell the story of an experience of the future that you haven't lived in yet. But the idea is you're working with a story which has a beginning, middle, and end, a narrative. It has characters, and just play with writing these stories and see what comes up. And Portal C finally is these concepts of fear. And I like to work on a philosophical level. It's somewhere it could be dangerous to get stuck, I think. But if that's interesting for you, I've got some cool, thinky, conceptual prompts here, including just following the why, like asking yourself why over and over again until you feel like you get to the nugget, the root of truth. So hopefully you guys will have the links and everyone can scroll through your own version of this. I will leave something up for you guys to look at, but I can't keep it all on the screen, so you won't get all of it. And just so you know, looking ahead, round 2, we're just going to go back and look at that raw material that we've been excavating and kind of put it on the table and be like, what goes, oh, that's interesting, right? And so don't worry about round 2 for now. Just do this awareness first. We need the awareness, and then we can turn it into wisdom in round 2. Okay. So we're going to dive into this practice now. Get ready with whatever your art supplies are, your journal, your pen.